Hey, happy Thursday, baseball whalers. How we all doing? Uh, Big weekend of baseball coming up, and what better way to start it off than to celebrate the 90th birthday of probably the greatest living baseball player today, Willie Say Hey Mays. Yes, hard to believe Willie's 90. I remember when he was playing. That must make me old. He is the oldest living Hall of Famer now, but he is so much more than that. Some say he's the greatest all-around player who ever lived, and it would be tough to dispute that. He started his career at the Polo Grounds with the Giants in '51, and for many lifelong fans, even people who never saw him play, he's still the greatest player they probably never saw. And even for the ones who did see him at his best in the '50s and '60s in New York and Frisco, they go mostly on memories now. One that number 24 burned into their imagination forever. There was never a Last Dance documentary for the dazzling complete player known as the Say Hey Kid. Doesn't change who he was and what he could do in a baseball field, which is to say everything. Tim McCarver, who played against Willie Mays, was catcher and so often had Mays standing right there in front of him in the batter's box, was talking about Mays on Monday. He said, as his opponent, you had to make sure you didn't fall under his spell because that was the trap you could fall into being on the same field with him. You could be spellbound at the things he could do and the way he could do them. And that's true. Willie, from what I hear, I never saw him in his prime, but he was breathtaking. Probably his biggest contemporary was Hank Aaron. And it's hard to say with Hank's passing who was the better ball player, but I think the general consensus is it probably was Willie Mays. I did get to see him with the '73 Mets. His magical last year with the Mets, he really wasn't much of a player at that point, but he was still Willie Mays, so I got to see the great one play. And funny story, I actually got his autograph at a Met Old Timers game in the late '70s. He pulled up in his pink Cadillac in the Shea Stadium parking lot. And the old trick was Willie would sign one autograph and walk his way into the player's entrance, and that was it, and milk that autograph all the way. Well, I had a spiral-bound notebook, and I guess when Willie opened the door from his Cadillac, it was easy to hold on to the notebook that I had, and he just held that notebook, signed it Willie Mays, and he milked it for like a minute till he got to the entrance, handed it to me, and then walked right in. So I was the one person who got Willie Mays' autograph that day. Now, from what I hear, he was a tough autograph, and I treasure it to this day. It's on a loose leaf piece of paper and a green spiral-bound notebook, but it's probably the greatest autograph I ever got in sports. And on this day, I say thank you, Willie, for signing that day. And Willie, enjoy the big day. You mean so much to baseball, and you are the greatest player of all time, living player of all time. I personally like Babe Ruth because of what he did for baseball, but I can see where people will take Willie any day of the week, and that's okay with me too. Now, going to more modern times, how about that performance yesterday by Mr. Means, John Means? Yes, he did Means business yesterday. And what a game he pitched, and what a rise he's come. He's gone from non-prospect to all-star to Oriole ace in just the 3 years. And he reached new territory on Wednesday afternoon in Seattle, and he carved out a place in Major League history. He was nearly perfect against the Mariners at T-Mobile Park as he threw the O's first solo no-hitter since 1969 in a 6-0 win. The third no-hitter in MLB this season is also the 10th in franchise history. And that's the sixth since the Orioles moved to Baltimore in '54, and the first in MLB history in which the opposing team did not record a walk, a hit by pitch, or an error, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. So it was a classic performance yesterday. And Mean says, I can't put it into words. I can't do it. It's such a crazy feeling. It's such a whirlwind of an experience. I don't think I've been able to process it yet. But to be in the same breath as Palmer, I don't think it's much better than that. The Orioles do not have a perfect game in their storied history, but Means came about as close as humanly possible. He struck out 12 without a walk and Means' only base runner came when Sam Haggerty reached on a drop third strike in the third. Haggerty was immediately thrown out attempting to steal second. Means then retired the next 19 in order, facing the minimum. The result was arguably the greatest single pitching performance in franchise history. Kyle Seager of the Mariners tipped his hat by saying he was awesome today. There's no question about it. This is no fluky thing. He was in control all day. Means completed the no-hitter by putting on a clinic of soft contact and working ahead in the count. He fired first pitch strikes to his first 17 batters and 26 of 27 overall. So he was putting it over there on strike one. They just couldn't hit it. He needed 113 pitches to breeze thrice through the Mariners lineup, which entered play ranked 29th in MLB average 207 and 656. And that didn't help their bats any, seeing Means yesterday. Only one ball in play eclipsed Statcast 95 miles per hour hard hit threshold and was an outlier. Ty France's easy pop up to short in the fourth. Mariners' best chance at hit was thwarted when Cedric Mullins slid to catch J.P. Crawford's soft liner to center in the sixth. And Kyle Lewis also flew out to left field warning track in the eighth. Means said, "I thought that ball was out. Thank God Austin Hayes was there to catch it. Besides, I don't remember any balls being hit that hard." It just goes to show how dominant he was. So Orioles are in a rebuild, but Means is bringing some excitement to the Baltimore Bay there, and he's looking good. He was undersized and overlooked coming out of Kansas City high school scene, and he walked on at West Virginia University and turned himself into an 11th round draft pick in 2014. But he ended 2018, then 25. He was so close to quitting, he created a LinkedIn account in case baseball did not work out. He never needed it. Means added several miles per hour velocity that winter and made the Orioles the next spring and was an all-star by midsummer. His achievement Wednesday means that I never thought it would happen, never in a million years. I always wrote MLB player when I was a kid on a sheet when they asked what you wanted to do when you're older, but I never thought it was reality. I hope this lets every kid coming up know anybody can do it. I was on my way out of the minor leagues and figured out a way to make a living out of this. Hopefully the kids coming up, even the ones who are overlooked, know they have a chance. So what a great story for John Means. And like I said, he had 27 up and 27 down, but it wasn't a perfect game. So it just goes to show in the wild, wacky world of baseball, anything can happen. So it was the first non-perfect no-hitter in which the opposing team did not record a walk, hit by pitch, or error. It's the first in which the only base runner reached on a drop third strike. What were the odds of that going into the game? And just to keep it real, it's unreal. There have been 3 official no-hitters so far this season that would have been perfect games if not for a hit by pitch in Musgrove's no-hitter, a hit by pitch in Rodon's no-hitter, and a drop third strike by Means. So we've been that close to perfect games this year, and that's quite an accomplishment. What else is going on in baseball today? You know what? Let's go ahead and talk about all the surprises that are happening in baseball this year so far. There have been quite a few, and there's still 5 months to go in this 160-game grind. So far, it's been fantastic. I think the biggest surprise team has been the Giants, for them to be ahead of the Padres and Dodgers this late in the year. And by late, I mean it's late for a team like the Giants to be ahead of those two behemoths. Fantastic story. The team I'll give another vote to is Kansas City Royals. I think they're on the way. They're on the horizon. But they're surprising everybody this year, and maybe they're peaking a little bit earlier than people thought. So this could be the time the Royals start arriving. Will they be a contender? I don't think so, but you got to hand their hat to them. Another team like that is the Seattle Mariners. I think they're doing very, very well. And they may be coming in a little ahead of time, but they're going to be around for a while. And how about those Boston Red Sox? If you watch my previews here on the channel, I said that it wouldn't surprise me if the Red Sox win 85, maybe 90 games and have a shot at the playoffs. And they're on their way to do that. They are really looking good. The pitching has done way better than what people expected. And the offense has done very, very well. And they're in the mix. It's going to be interesting. It's like the Yankees, Toronto's on their way up. That's going to be a tough division this year. So it's not a Yankee cakewalk like people thought it would be. Some of the players that have really caught me are Yermin Mercedes of the White Sox. With all the injuries the White Sox have had, he has really developed some offense. And, of course, J.D. Martinez with the Red Sox is really socking the ball. Byron Buxton, he has finally blossomed into the player everyone thought he would be. Tyler Naquin with the Reds, what a great player he is. And Cedric Mullins has just been a hitting machine with the Orioles. Carlos Rodon, he has redeemed himself, and he is now a top-notch pitcher in baseball. And, of course, Shohei Ohtani, the new Babe Ruth of the West Coast. He is doing it all. Like I said, the Dodgers and the Padres garnered all the headlines and highlights during the offseason, but the Giants are there. So it's going to be fun the next 5 months. If it's anything like the first month, it's going to be a hell of a season. Now, of course, we always have to talk about the disappointments in baseball. And number one by far has got to be Francisco Lindor. He just hasn't hit the ball at all. And it's amazing what a funk he's been in. And major league hitters in general have just been a funk. The pitchers have had the upper hand. His batting average at their all-time low. But I think that'll turn. I think that all evens out in the long run. May not be all hitting 300, but I think the hitters will come around. The surprise disappointing teams, Minnesota, there's just too much talent on that team. Now, did they fall too far behind? I don't know. But they will make their mark. Atlanta, same thing. I think they will make their mark, but they're just not playing the way people expected them to. The Cubs are at the crossroads. They need to do something quick. It's going to be the Central's a little bit better than what people thought, and the Cardinals are playing pretty well. The Angels got off to a great start, but they're going into their funk again. They got to snap out of it. And then the NL East, no team is really grabbing the bull by the horns. So every year there's a surprise. You can pick this crap out of your head until the season starts and still be wrong 50% of the time. And one guy I think I've been wrong on, and I'll admit, is Giancarlo Stanton. He is igniting the Yankees, and he's the guy where if he hits like this all year, the Yankees are going to win the division. He's just doing damage. And he's basically saying that was mechanical changes that were so small in nature that have turned this around for him. He was just, if you remember, when he swings and misses, he looks bad. But he said that he's corrected his swing a little, and he's had one of his hottest stretches in pinstripes. And yesterday he homered and drove in 4 runs. And Aaron Hicks delivered a tie-breaking hit as the Yankees won the game against the Astros 6-3 at Yankee Stadium yesterday in a big series. So the Yankees are doing it against the good teams too, not just the Tigers and the Orioles. Like Stan has always been a mistake hitter, and he's saying, I'm doing a great job of mistakes. If a pitcher makes a mistake in the plate, I'm going to do some damage on it. That's our job. That's my job. Some stretches you do better than others, but I'm in a pretty good groove right now. And, yeah, he's a beast. I mean, he hits the ball harder than anybody in the game. So when he hits it, and he hits it good, he is going to get his hits, if not homers, that's for sure. So the Yankees are really riding the coattails of Giancarlo Stanton. How about Aroldis Chapman? He has just been unhittable. Great year for Aroldis so far. And how about a team that's not doing as well as everyone thought they would be, huh? Yes, indeedy. The Chicago Cubs weren't doing as well as people thought, but then the Dodgers came to town. They swept the Dodgers, and the Dodgers, who knows what's going on with them? They are in a funk, and it's starting to raise a little bit of eyebrows. Anthony Rizzo was supposed to have a day off yesterday, but in the 11th inning, he delivered a 2-out, 2-strike walk-off single through the left side of the infield. An exciting win to win that 6-5 game for the Cubs. That was a sweep. And that was a litmus test for the Cubs, and they passed. So I would not. So I would ride this out till the end with the Cubs. And you got a chance to win, you got to go with it. I know there's rumors that they would be sellers, but I don't want to see that happen. Now they came off a 2-7 road trip, and they were, check this out. This is why baseball is such a funny game. They were staring down a series with defending World Series champions that featured Kershaw, Bauer, and Walker pitching against them. They pulled off a doubleheader sweep Tuesday and finished the series with consecutive walk-off wins against the Dodgers for the first time since 1958. Unbelievable. And yesterday's game had a little bit of everything. I just love the fact that all this stuff is happening in baseball. I mean, Chris Bryant, what if you didn't see the game? He made a perfect relay throw in the game. These little things that you just don't see in the box score. But Chris Bryant has a knack. He's a baseball player, and he knows how to do it. But in the 11th, the Cubs were unable to turn two. And they got out of that one, that's for sure. And yeah, it was just a fun game. Fun game. What else can we talk about today, folks? I know what we can talk about. We can talk about draft prospects. The good thing about ESPN on the app, you have ESPN Plus. If you subscribe to ESPN, you subscribe to ESPN. A lot of good college games on there. And of course, ESPN has its hand in the SEC network, and they have their hand in the ACC networks on a lot of cable systems. So we're able to see a lot of good baseball, a lot of good college baseball. And that's why I think college baseball is going to actually rival minor league baseball as far as eyeballs watching the games. And that's going to be a good thing, folks, without a doubt. And they're really good players. If you get a chance, the World Series starts in the beginning of June. We got a few good solid weeks of the season left. But the player everyone's talking about is a shortstop, Jordan Waller, at a Jesuit prep in Dallas. He's a five-stool player, and they're saying he's a lot like Bobby Witt when he was in high school. So keep an eye on him. But it looks like the top college prospect is definitely going to be Jack Leiter. The only thing with him is he's surrendered 8 homers in his last 3 weeks. And the question is, how will he hold up with a bigger workload? But for the beginning of the season, he was on fire. Another shortstop in high school is Marcelo Meyer from Chula Vista, California. But he's looked upon him as being potential all-star at shortstop. Of course, the other great pitcher at Vanderbilt, Kumar Rocker, his velocity is dipped into the low 90s, but he's considered very, very well and outperformed Leiter at this point, even though Leiter had a much greater start and was setting the baseball world on fire. But Kumar will probably be a top 5 pick. And another player, Brady House from Winder Barrow High School in Windsor, Georgia. And he's another shortstop. So you can see the trend here. The trend here is your best athletes seem to be shortstops these days. And also coming up on the horizon is another catcher, Henry Davis from Louisville. I've seen him play, and he's batting .403 with a .683 slugging percentage. He has more walks and extra base hits than strikeouts. So he has 29 walks, 19 extra base hits, and 15 strikeouts, and he has good arm strength. So catchers, if you can get a good catcher, they're worth a lot. So keep an eye on him. And you had another shortstop, Khalil Wilson out of Wake Forest. I've seen him play too, and he is looking good. A right-hand pitcher you want to keep an eye on. You'll see him if you watch college baseball on the cable systems, Gunnar Hoagland. He has good stuff, and check him out if you can. Bubba Chandler, the right-hander pitcher, shortstop. He could be one of those wild card picks. Is he going to play short? He's going to pitch. He's a prospect that everyone's got their eyes on. And Ty Madden is another college arm from Texas. Texas always has those strong college arms coming up. So those are basically the top. There's a lot of great prospects, though, but those are probably the top 10. And keep an eye on them. They'll be fun to watch. And let's just talk about the Padres. I personally thought the Padres wouldn't do anything this year as far as knocking the Dodgers from the front. But now I think it's a dogfight. It's going to be anything that happens. And, when you got A.J. Preller wheeling and dealing, he made some really good moves. The Yu Darvish for Zach Davies trade and 4 prospects that were ranked outside of the Padres' top 10 looks like a very, very good deal. And took a lot. That's a gamble on his part. And they got Trent Grisham in that deal also, and he's been hitting well. And then last year I got Jake Cronenworth, who was just supposed to be a throw-in in Tommy Pham trade, and he is doing fantastic. So Preller's been wheeling and dealing, and when you're hot, and it's showing in the win column. And like I said, Padres are impressed me. I didn't expect them to do this well this year, but they're here to stay. That's without a doubt. And then last but not least, Shohei was back yesterday. But Tampa Bay had something to say about it yesterday. And he pitched a good game. He only gave up 1 hit, but I think he gave 6 walks yesterday, and that's not going to cut the mustard. Let's see, Shohei, 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 6 walks, 7 strikeouts, lowered his ERA to 2.41. But the Rays, they got their designated starter, and then Yarborough came in, pitched 4 innings, and they got the win. So big win for Tampa Bay. They pulled ahead, and Angels had a 1-0 lead after 6. Then the Rays scored 3 runs in the 7th inning, and just typical Tampa Bay Ray fashion. They walked their way into scoring opportunities, and they couldn't turn them into runs in the beginning of the game. But they found their way on base against Angels' 2-way star Shohei Ohtani, but the rallies fizzled, so Shohei got out of the jam. But then Brandon Lowe gave it to him in the 7th, launching a 3-run homer off reliever Giancarlo and sending the Rays to a 3-1 win. 2 good teams. I love Tampa Bay because they're just scrappy and they do so much with what they have, and they actually develop players instead of stars, and just to fit the system. Remind me so much of the Oakland A's, and I don't want to see the Rays actually collapse this year after making the World Series. So subliminally, I root for them because of the fact that they do so much with so little. But last night, they did it. And unfortunately, the Angels wasted a Shohei Ohtani performance. And talking about teams that just can't get it done, you got Rendon, Trout, and Ohtani, 3 of the best players in baseball. And the Angels are in last place at 13-16. So it is tough being a Angels fan this year, and that sucks. That sucks. And let's see what else is going on. What's on your folks' minds today? Let's see what the slate brings us. We got a lot of afternoon games, so if you're working from home, put that TV on, kick back, work, and have one eyeball on the TV and one eyeball on the games. The big one is Astros Yankees at 1. Garrett Cole against Lance McCullers. I'm a Met fan, but I may want to watch that one instead of the Mets Cards, even though the Met Card game is going to be good. Taijuan Walker against Gant. That's also at 1:15. How about that matchup in Philly with the pitchers? Woodruff against Wheeler. Nice. That's at 1:05. Nathan Eovaldi goes for the Red Sox against the Tigers at 1:10. Rangers Indians, Twins, I should say, at 1. What other noteworthy? Oh, we got Ryu pitching for the Blue Jays today at 3:37 against the A's. That'll be fun. Lester takes the mound for the Nationals at 4:05 against the Braves. That's the YouTube game of the week. I don't know if you guys ever watched that. Madbone takes the mound again against the Marlins tonight. See if he has any 7-hit no-hitter magic in him. Well, he's got to pitch 9 to get a no-hitter this time. And then the Rays and the Angels are a nightcap game. McHugh against Heaney. That's the only really late-night game, and there's only one night game. So you got a 6:40 start, Marlins and D-backs, and you got the Rays and Angels, and I think MLB Network is covering them both. I think around-the-clock MLB action today as far as the games are concerned, so check that out. And the standings, what do we got? We still have the Red Sox on top in the AL East. They're 1.5 games ahead of the Yankees. The White Sox in a three-way tie for first with Cleveland and Kansas City. And whoever you want to pick to be the division winner there, the other two teams qualify as the wild card. And Oakland is 19-13 with a 2-game lead over the Mariners. In the NL East, we got Phillies 16-15 with a 1-game lead over the Mets. The Cards 18-13, 1-game lead over the Brewers, who would qualify for the wild card. And then we got the Giants in the West at 18-13 with a half-game lead over San Diego, who would qualify as a wild card. Dodgers wouldn't even be qualifying for the playoffs. And they're 17-15 against baseball this year, and they're 1.5 games behind the Frisco Giants. Fun stuff, huh, guys? So that about is going to wrap it up for us today. And as always, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the broadcast. I know most of you members of Baseball Group, Baseball Way of Life, and I'm so glad to have you guys as members. If you're not a member and just watch these YouTube casts, please subscribe to the Baseball Group, Baseball Way of Life on Facebook. We're almost 10,000 strong. We have good stuff on there every day. And if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube cast, we're up at least once a day, every day with a daily update. So please subscribe. Like the video if you like it. If you don't like it, put down your comments. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, talk about anything, my email address is philstan41@gmail.com. Well, that's it. A lot of afternoon baseball today, folks. Enjoy it. And we'll talk soon. And enjoy the day and enjoy the baseball. Play ball.